Joining us now is security consultant Colonel Hassan Stan Lambo, retired. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Morning, thanks.
Now, we saw on the papers this morning the president expressing shock over the state of insecurity in the country. And yesterday at the plenary session at the National Assembly, the issue of insecurity also took the front burner in terms of how deep it has eaten into the fabric of the society. I wonder how worrisome this recent level of insecurity is for you.
Yeah, of course, it must be quite worrisome to every Nigerian that we keep going on and on and on and on, experiencing the same thing. And it seems our efforts are not really, efforts towards checking all this level of crime rate and banditry and what have you does not seem to be meeting adequate requirements, to address the issues on ground. I think what we need to maybe begin to do is see how much of out-of-the-box thinking we can bring into bear on the situation on ground right now.
When you talk about out-of-the-box thinking, what exactly, how do you mean? Because even the National Assembly is talking about looking in the direction of community policing. Is that the way to go?
Yes, I agree with them. In fact, I wonder why till now we have not been able to put in place nationwide the entire community policing structure. I was thinking by now the IG would have taken that as a priority, given the situation on ground, because with community policing, citizenship involvement will fully come in, okay? Given the fact that with community policing, the various communities themselves to also take over the policing structure on ground, take them over as
But there are fears that it might be hijacked by politicians.
For how long shall we continue to sustain such fears? Are we saying we shall not eventually go into state policing? We shall, whether we like it or not, eventually we shall amend the constitution and go into state policing. And community policing is just what we need now. We cannot continue to remain in our fears. We must overcome our fears.
Are we willing to overcome our fears?
It needs the political will.
Look at the situation when when the Southwest governors came up with the issues of Amotekun, the outfit. And you see you saw the reactions that trailed it. In fact, it took a political coloration. Are we really, really ready to deal with issues of mistrust and tackle insecurity head on?
That is a typical Nigerian mentality towards issues like this, okay? You see all our fault lines begin to appear. Religion, ethnicity, tribe, what have you. It's so unfortunate. I'm from the north, and at times I really wonder why people were against this Amotekun arrangement on ground. I felt so embarrassed that some individuals whom I expect to come out and speak in support of it were instead criticizing it. We need structures as this to provide adequate support to even the community policing we are talking about. And in fact, going by the arrangements these guys have, it's even going to work in synergy with the community police on ground. So what are we talking about? Each of the various zones in this country needs structures like that. What fears do we have about people breaking out of Nigeria? Who is afraid of anybody breaking out anyway? Why are you afraid? Oh, come on, let's call it spade a spade.
How will the structure, the community policing, work with the police and other security agencies?
The modalities will be worked out. The modalities will be worked out. Because when we talk about community policing, there's no how you can forge on with community policing without the community itself, okay, giving its blessings to what's ongoing. From time to time, the community will continue to, let the police feel quite comfortable, lend their support by way of information, intelligence, and what have you. Work hand in hand with the police. To some extent even, there are individuals who are better economically endowed within the community who would even put in resources to ensure that the police functions very well.
All right.
These are things we should encourage. We are just playing politics with the whole damn thing.
All right, Colonel Hassan Stan Lambo, retired. We have to leave it here now. Thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
I appreciate it, please.
Joining us now is security consultant Colonel Hassan Stanlambo, retired. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much.
All right, looking at the security issues bedeviling the nation, some have called for an overhaul of the security architecture to address this issue. Of course, newspapers this morning was saying that President Buhari is shocked at the level of insecurity in the country. So a lot of people have called for restructuring now. Do you support that?
Well, of course, I will support every step that will be taken to see that the situation is addressed. But I want us to be very clear when we talk about restructuring or whatever. As we go about restructuring, the most important thing is that at the end of the day, I hope we shall be showing enough commitment to funding, showing enough commitment to manpower enhancement, that is first generation, okay? Showing enough commitment.
But over time, when you look at the budget, the money is, you know, saddled to deal with these issues of security. Isn't that commitment enough to show that we want to fight insecurity? We have committed so much in monies.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can understand where you are coming from.
Okay.
But Vero, let me let you understand that to start with, we cannot rely on budgetary allocations to fund the defense sector. When I say defense now, national security.
Yeah.
Why? Because whatever you get from the budgetary allocation will be mere drop in the ocean. Do you understand me? And where you shift defense to come and compete with other vital sectors like health and education, what at the end of the day is defense going on?
Where do we get extras?
The point I want to make now is that we should be thinking out of the box.
What will be thinking out of the box in funding now?
Good. Lagos State has given us a clear example of what we should do by way of thinking out of the box when it comes to funding security. By now, we should have floated long ago, if only our past governments have been thinking. By now, we would have floated a federal security trust fund, okay, that would enable us to be able to talk to and galvanize the support of, say, the oil companies amongst us, who would persuade to give us just 1% of their gross. Apart from the oil companies, there are several other big corporate bodies that will be ready to give us 1% of their gross when you put all this together. And then, of course, we the citizens, in taking ownership of our security situation, and should be able to at least contribute, even if it means 1%.
How far will that go?
It will go a long way. Do you know what is 1% from Shell BP or 1% from Chevron?
And how will this deal with the complexities?
Translate it to your naira. Do you know how many billions of naira?
How will this deal with the complexities that we seem to be seeing in terms of ethnicity and religion? How will that deal with that issue? Because that seems to be undermining efforts as well.
Those are attitudinal issues which all of us as Nigerians will have to resolve to change. Simple. These are the, what do I call them? The fault lines you see with the Nigerian mentality, which often surfaces when you are addressing national issues. Before you talk too far, somebody's already bringing some coloration that completely, you know, makes a mess of whatever reasonable thing you are placing on the table.
All right.
You begin to read all sorts of ethnic lines and religious lines into national issues.
All right, Colonel Hassan Stanlambo, retired. Thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
I appreciate it.